What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shuggy from Shook Earth Media, and today we're taking a look at Resident Evil Death Island. This is the new movie in the Resident Evil video game universe. It's an animated CGI film, and it has all the main characters that you want to see. We got Chris, we got Jill, we got Leon, we got Claire, we got Rebecca, all in one movie, and that's what makes it, spoiler alert, the best Resident Evil movie. Now keep in mind, when I say the best Resident Evil movie, we are grading on a scale here, because I am by no means saying that this is a good film. I cannot in good conscience, as a film critic, as a lover of good art, tell you that this is a good movie, because I would just be lying to you, okay? This is very goofy, campy, over-the-top B-movie action. It is about zombies, it is about lickers, it is about the creatures you come to expect from Resident Evil. It is the Resident Evil formula to a T and nothing else. So if that's not something that interests you inherently, you're not gonna like this movie. If you're a Resident Evil fan like me, a super fan, every day a new Resident Evil game comes out, it's like Christmas to me. I love it. I take the day off work if I can. I play the game all day long. I stream it. Definitely sub if you want to see that. But I just love Resident Evil. I'm obsessed with it. So I see all the characters on screen, I get excited, and that's pretty much all. If you're the type of person that's going to get excited seeing that, you probably already see the movie, you don't even need a review. But I just want to remind you guys, okay, this is like a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 at best, but I still enjoyed it because I got everything I wanted out of this movie. Mainly, the main thing that we get is Jill in the movie, finally. We get to see Jill and Leon meet. That's one of the best parts of the movie. They have a little fight at the beginning. They first meet. They don't know that each other are there. It's a little silly because it's like, well, wouldn't they recognize each other right away? But it took them a second, but that honestly makes it more fun. So it's a really silly movie. Basically, the plot, to summarize it, is at the beginning we got some zombies creeping into the regular world again, and of course all of our main characters converge. We got Chris and Jill in the BSAA, and then we got Rebecca's now a scientist that happened in Vendetta. She went from being a medic to now she's a scientist. Okay, fine, I accept that. And we got Claire, of course. She's with TerraSave. And Claire finds a whale that has the T virus in it because it got bit by something. Chris and Jill are investigating zombies turning in the city, and they've got a new version of the T virus. It's evolved now, and none of these people were bitten. They had injections, so they were injected by these bugs, basically, and that is the plot of the movie. Very basic, there's nothing reinventing the wheel here. There aren't even really any new creatures. What we do get are zombies that can climb now. So it kind of reminded me of The Walking Dead final season. So we got the next stage of variant zombies that can now climb walls and stuff like that, which I would love to see in the games, by the way. So I hope that they bring that into the video games. We got, lickers that can swim with gills underwater. That was cool. And we got, of course, a big transformation at the end. And we got a goofy fight scene with the character Maria from Vendetta. She's back in this one. She is a bioweapon. And you got a fisticuffs fight with Leon. And that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell. I pretty much just summarized the whole thing. I don't even feel like it's a spoiler because that's exactly what you go in expecting. There's nothing really all that new or exciting here. It's really just about the characters. I will say the animation overall looks good. There are some mistakes in it. Like, for one example, I remember Maria walked in front of a TV screen and it was supposed to be in the background behind her, but the TV was in front of her. So there's something going on with the editing. There's some parts where they shoot zombies but no blood comes out, and they reuse some of the same hallways over and over again. But other than that, the character models themselves, this is perhaps the best they've ever looked. We got all the same voice casts we were expecting. The new voice actor for Jill in the games comes in, and we got the new model for Jill. So it's a little bit of old and new mixed together, because we got Chris's old model. He's been remodeled 69,000 times. Every video game he looks different. This is like Resident Evil 5 and 6 Chris. And we got Jill from the Resident Evil 3 remake. We got Leon from like Resident Evil 4 through 6. And Rebecca and Claire look the same. So that's it's an interesting mix of old and new. And we got the old voice actor for Leon back, as opposed to we had the new voice for Leon in the previous movie Infinite Darkness. Well, it was technically a series, but I call it a movie because they just edited it into 4 episodes. So I will say I think the plot is better in Infinite Darkness, but it wasn't good enough that I even really remember exactly what happened. And I would say that that's probably a better movie overall, but I definitely enjoyed this one more. So it's a really goofy movie. The writing's not good. There's amazing lines like, "You can't save the world by destroying it." And, and "We don't have time to be guilty." And "Don't die." Amazing dialogue. You'll love to see it. But the only part that really annoyed me was when the pacing slowed down and there was dialogue-driven scenes. Like we had the villain, of course, saying his evil plan, muhahaha. Except it's not an evil plan in my universe because I think I'm doing the right thing, ha ha ha. Yeah, because we got another villain in the movie series that I'm killing people to show how bad killing people is. And I'm going after the actual people who are causing everything. You guys who are trying to save people are responsible somehow. It's really stupid. And those scenes dragged on, and I just wanted to get back to the zombie killing and stuff. When there's zombies and there's people getting bitten, you got a bunch of red shirts in the movie get killed. I like this stuff. I like them shooting zombies. I like them doing flips, kicking zombies. I like them fighting lickers. Okay, I like all that stuff. But other than that, there's not a whole lot here to analyze. I will say that the climax of the movie, it was the most ridiculous. I was laughing out loud at the slow motion flips in the air and all of that ridiculousness that you come to expect. Like I said, it wasn't as ridiculous as previous movies. They really held themselves for the end for the most ridiculous parts. Early on, they actually played it pretty safe, pretty straight. It's just a straight up zombie B movie with the lickers in it too. It didn't go quite over the top. The best parts of the movie are Leon's one-liners, of course. Nothing that clever, but it's entertaining. But the climax itself with the big creature wasn't as satisfying as it could have been. If they plotted it out a little bit better. So other than that, that's a minor complaint because you're really just here to kind of click your brain off and watch it and have fun. And that's pretty much the movie. So the one plot element of this movie I thought had a chance to be actually somewhat good is, of course, the return of Jill. She's a character that is a fan favorite, has kind of been absent from the series since Resident Evil 5, wherein she was taken over and used as a bioweapon by Wesker. And this movie kind of teased that they were going to do something with the guilt that she felt for being forced to go after her friends. And they never did anything with that, other than bringing it up in a very ham-fisted dialogue scene, very obvious writing, no subtlety whatsoever. It is Resident Evil after all. I thought that they were going to do something with that where she has to atone for it. Really, it was introduced, and then the villain has a bit of the same type of guilt in his motivation, where he was forced by Umbrella in the Raccoon City incident to take out somebody that he cared about. And he's been carrying that guilt, and that's his motivation. It's really goofy motivation because he's like, I had to kill somebody that I cared about, so therefore everybody else has to die. It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't really tie in with Jill's journey at all. But I thought for once maybe we would actually get some type of character arc going with Jill. That's not, unfortunately, what they ended up doing. It just kind of introduced just so that they could have a clever line at the end with Jill. So that was the one part that was kind of disappointing. But other than that, it was great to see Jill again, although I do have to wonder if they kept her in her same outfit from Resident Evil 3 Remake, just so they could save a little bit of money on remodeling her. But I don't know, I digress. Fun little story about how I actually got this movie for free somehow. I don't understand how it happened, but I pre-ordered it from Walmart because you guys responded so well to my trailer reaction video. I was like, I gotta review this. So I pre-ordered it on Walmart, and they refunded me a little bit of money at a time. There was 3 refunds, and they said it was for competitive price matching. So Amazon lowered their price, so they refunded me to match it, and then they refunded me all the money I paid. And I look at the order on the website, and it says I paid $0 for this, and yet they shipped it to my house. They gave me my money back. I don't know if I'm gonna get a random charge in the middle of nowhere but somehow I got this movie for free. The best shopping experience I've ever had. Thank you, Walmart, for a free movie. I really appreciate it. I'm going to cut in my review of the special features. I'm going to watch those after I film this, and then I'll let you guys know what I think. So I just watched the special features on the Blu-ray, and mostly they weren't really anything to write home about. It was about an hour's worth of content. I think probably more like 40 minutes. And the highlights were getting to see some of the motion capture process. I always get a kick out of watching the camera that they strap onto these actors because it doesn't move at all. They really stabilize it very efficiently. So it's basically like their face is staying still and everything else is moving around them. It's a really funny way to look at how a person moves about. Of course, they do that so that the facial animations could be mapped on to the models that they have. But I just find it amusing to watch. And other than that, the main highlight was a little bit of a documentary about how they brought Jill back. And they actually showed off other designs that they had for the character. So while they were designing this movie, the Resident Evil 3 remake came out, and they decided that they wanted it to be a more recognizable character because they didn't want anybody to be confused about who she was. You see, the first time you see her is in a dark scene, so they wanted to make sure that she was very recognizable. So it's actually not the same design as the Resident Evil 3 remake. They do a side-by-side just to prove that to you. The clothes are different, the face is different, even though it looks very similar. There are changes that you can really see only when you look side by side, but it is of course a very recognizable take on the character. But I do have a greater appreciation for how they did it in the movie, and they actually showed that they did age her up a little bit. That's one thing with this movie, is the villain, he was in Raccoon City and then he was in the later scenes, but they aged him up a lot. Whereas these other characters, Leon, Claire, Chris, Jill, everybody was there in Raccoon City. They kind of looked the same. They actually showed that they did age up Jill a little bit. They put a little more gray in her hair. They put some crow's feet. They showed more laugh lines. So if you look side by side, they showed a before and after they made those changes and what it looked like. So you can actually see some of the finer details that they did in fact add. But it's just funny to think about that. So they didn't exactly use the same design, but I think overall they made the right decision. I think that the design looks great. It's, you know, it's got charm to it, but also has that confidence and that strength that she portrays as a character. So I think they did a good job with it. Of course, you get to see the voice actors in the booth as well. So if you're a fan of the voice actors, it's mostly just marketing material. So they're talking up the movie. And of course, there is the screenwriter there describing his process. And I just can't hate dude, even though I criticize his script and call it ham-fisted. He really tried. He put thought into it. He really did have a vision there. So I respect the man, although I stand by what I said earlier. So overall, I don't know if I'd really recommend getting the Blu-ray just for the special features. The main feature of the Blu-ray is that it definitely looks better on Blu-ray than it does on streaming. Everybody who has physical media knows that. So the best way to watch this movie is Blu-ray. But ultimately, I don't know that I would recommend you pay $20 to watch this movie. I would say just wait till it's like $4 or $5 on streaming. That'll happen probably 6 months to a year down the line. I wouldn't recommend it for a $20 price tag. But at $4, you can have a good time with it. So that's my review. So like I said, it was a fun movie. The frustrating thing was just the repetitiveness of the villain and the fact that they refused to shoot him, even though there were many opportunities where it's like, you gotta shoot this guy. He was about to, he shot somebody else. You gotta shoot him. He was about to infect himself with the T virus and they wouldn't shoot him. Just fucking shoot the guy already. That's the only real complaint I have about it. But it's not a good movie. Like I said, as a film critic, it's like a 3, 4 out of 10. But I enjoyed it as if it was like a 5 or 6. So I had a good time with it. And if you're a Resident Evil fan, I recommend it. If you're not, don't even think about it. But with that, it's been your boy Shuggy. I'll see you guys in the next review. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.